So for more on the Yankees, let's welcome in Bryan Hoch of MLB.com. Bryan, thank you so much for your patience tonight and bearing with us. Let's start with the Bombers right now. 3-7 in their last 10. They've lost 3 straight series for the first time this year. So what do you make of this skid?
Well, I think that for as good and as flawless as the first couple months of the season were, I figure their glass was a little more than half full. It was probably 3/4 full. Now you're starting to see that balance out. And this is something that Aaron Boone had talked about. And you heard that in his comments and his tone, that even as things seem to be going great early in the season, it's a long year. 162 games is a gauntlet, especially playing in this division. The American League East is tough. And there was going to be a stretch sooner or later where something jumped up and got him. And I think that what I see, the biggest problem has been the pitching staff thus far, and today not included, because Nestor Cortes actually pitched pretty well today. If you look back over this span, especially, they've been giving up a ton of runs. I think it was 51 runs allowed over their losing streak, and that's just not going to cut it. And so they've definitely had injuries and attrition here. They've had trouble scoring runs at times. It's the Judge and Soto show largely. But to me, pitching has been the biggest issue so far right now.
All right, you mentioned the injuries. Let's start with the latest injury. Giancarlo Stanton placed on the 10-day injured list. Aaron Boone said it's a hamstring strain. So how long do you think he's going to be out, and what do the Yankees do in the interim?
Yeah, we talked to Giancarlo down in the clubhouse, and he said he's expecting to be out for about a month. So that's about 4 weeks. And, that pretty much syncs with the timetable that I figured, because last season in April, he did a similar thing, same leg, same injury, left hamstring strain. He said this one now is not quite as severe as it was in April of last year, but he lost 43 games last season. And so this is not going to be a 10 days and back in the lineup kind of thing. It's going to take a while. He did get a PRP injection in New York today, and so the healing process should begin in the next 24 to 48 hours, but this is going to be some time here. And so what Aaron Boone said he's going to do in the interim is rotate that DH spot. I think you're going to see Aaron Judge get a lot more turns at DH, which is not necessarily a bad thing for him, considering it's a big body, 6'7" and 280 in center field. You want to give that a break when you can. I asked him if he was going to play Juan Soto at DH a little bit more, considering that the left forearm injury. And he said no, because Soto doesn't really like to DH. He's the kind of guy who likes to be in the game every single pitch. So I would think that in the short term, at least, you're going to see Judge DH a lot more.
All right, so other than moving the deck chairs around on the boat here, what do you think we'll see the Yankees do come the trade deadline, given the Stanton injury and given the struggles pitching?
Well, even before you had these injuries hit, and they've had 2 pretty significant ones here in the last week now. You've lost Anthony Rizzo for months with a broken arm, and now you've got Stanton on the shelf for at least a month. So that's 2 really big bats out of the lineup. But even before that, I thought the Yankees were going to be aggressive at the trade deadline. They obviously went all in to bring in Juan Soto. This is their year to take a crack at a World Series championship, because there's no guarantee you're going to have Soto on this roster beyond this year. So bullpen was the weak link to me. They've done a lot to try and shake that up. They're picking up guys left and right, plugging and playing where they can, but they need more swing and miss in that bullpen. And so that's something I think that they're going to try to do here at the deadline. We're still a month away, but that seems to be a glaring need. And now in the wake of these injuries here, you're not getting a whole ton of production from the corner infield spots, especially. Gleyber Torres has not done and not had a great year at second base, but to me, the corner infield is a real priority here as you go in. They're going to have Ben Rice and J.D. Davis as your platoon at first base. They just picked up Davis, but I think they're going to try to upgrade that over that if they can.
All right, looking at the silver lining to this cloud, despite the struggles, the Yankees still a game and a half up on the Orioles in the AL East. But given the new playoff format, how important is the division this season?
It's important. I mean, you want to win your division, of course, and that sets you up for better success, but it's not a must. We've certainly seen enough wild card teams make it to the World Series. I mean, look at the Arizona Diamondbacks last year. So you can do it. You can get there, but it makes your road a lot easier. And so I think that with Baltimore head-to-head against this Yankee team, the Yankees have lost 5 of 7 to the Orioles so far, and they've really struggled in their division. I think that when you take a step back and look, a lot of the Yankees' heavy lifting here has been done against teams not in their own division. And so when they're playing teams that are postseason contenders, like a Baltimore, like an Atlanta, by the way, who was just in here at Yankee Stadium, took 2 out of 3. You started to see some of their weaknesses get exposed here, and that was probably inevitable. I think that given how hard they had to work the pitching staff early this year, there was going to be some kind of backslide, but now it's an opportunity for next man up, and they do need to prove that they can hold their own here in the division.
Bryan Hoch, MLB.com, always doing the heavy lifting. Appreciate you, sir.
You got it, man. Thank you for having me.